You want to look at utilities. Is there a water meter? Is there a little flood area? Even in a small subdivision, you might have some kind of weird creek or spring that makes that lot unbuildable. Not likely, but check into it. Check into it. There's a ton of money to be made in those kind of gems. The rule that I used to follow. Let's just talk about flipping lots in like just regular residential areas. So let's start with that. There's one area that I probably flipped over 40 lots, maybe 50, maybe 60. This is in California. And these were small lots, very small. I think they're only about 60, 70 feet by about 110. They were about 7,000 square foot lots. But they were pure gold. Now, not every one of them was buildable, so there's things to look out for. But for now, before I get into all that, basically anywhere you see developed homes, you see houses, right? Stuff that was maybe built in the 70s or 80s or 60s, they just cut them up like a press cutting out brownies, right? That's kind of what they look like, brownies in a tray, okay? There's a street, there's property lines, there's a center line between the two backyards, and that's a lot, right? You look around the properties in your neighborhood, well, it started identifying those properties that, wow, why do they have such a big property? It's because they have a double lot. So you can look up the address, two addresses, and you'll figure out the lot in between. And you might find out that it's owned by one neighbor or the other, or it may be completely independent of either of them and just a private owner that just owns it, And those are the people you concentrate on. Look for those properties. First thing you do, contact the owner. You might have to look up their name and address. You can do that, the appraisal district. There's other resources online that you can look up things by address and find out who the property owner is. Call them up, or send them a letter or whatever. Get that communication going and find out if they want to sell. And you can ask if they want to sell. You can just make them an offer. Some people would rather have an offer. Some people don't know they want to sell. One of the ways I do it is I just contact them. First, I'll say, hey, would you be interested in selling? And a lot of times it might be, well, what do you give me for it? Well, I know. I say, well, how about 25? I'm willing to give them 30, but I'll say, how about 25? And maybe they'll take 25, or maybe they say they want 50 or, full price, or maybe they want more than it's worth. That happens. But you got to ask. And sometimes they're going to refuse to give you a number, so you got to put it on yourself, and you just offer a little less than you're willing to pay for it. It's that simple, okay? Now, if you can afford to pay all cash for the lot, that's great. If you can't, then say, well, how about $10,000 down or $5,000 down? What I did, I started with very little money. So I would offer $2,000 down to buy a lot for, say, $10,000, and I think it's worth $20,000. I might make the deal. So now I got it for $2,000 down, and now I'm making payments on $8,000. Now when I go to resell it, I sell it for $20,000, and I get $10,000 down. And all that does is it gives me my $2,000 back, plus it pays off the $8,000 note. And now I'm carrying a first trust deed, meaning they now owe me $10,000, the remainder of the 20 that they bought it from me for. They owe me 10. And I take that, maybe finance it over a period of 5 years, $100 a month, or maybe I'll take $100 a month for 10 years, and maybe the interest rate will be 5% or 10%. And if I ever want to sell that note, I can. There's that. Then you can go out in the boondocks where there's more farm and land and larger parcels. Maybe there's still 2.5 acre parcels, and you might see a subdivision where there's like a house every 10 lots, okay? In other words, there's 10 lots, then a house, 10 lots, then a house. It just never got fully developed. That's also a great opportunity. So now you're watching, you can go out of town a little bit. Now the advantage of that is the properties are going to be cost a little less. Also, probably more than likely, people will carry a note. They'll finance, owner finance. By the way, I have a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. The details are down below. You can get my book. And so I'll give you some success stories. I bought 70 acres one time. I paid $140,000, $2,000 an acre. I resold it for $520,000, okay? And now there was some real estate fees out of there and stuff. But in the end, I made about, $360,000, $380,000. And a portion of that was in a note. And that note paid me $2,450 a month for many years. That's a lot, right? That's a 70-acre lot. That's a big one, right? That I had all kinds of little properties that I bought in the beginning. I'd buy something for $5,000 to $7,000. I'd sell it for $15,000. Then I was buying lots for $10,000 and $10,000 and selling them for $20,000. And some I'd sell for $25,000. But almost always I carried a note until they go to build on it. And then when they go to build on it, then you get paid off cash because the bank won't be subordinate to a first trustee. So what they do is the bank insists when they go to loan the builder money to build a house, they want that property paid off. They want to be in the first position. If there's a problem, then they have to foreclose on the guy that's building it. Nothing to worry about. You're just turning land.
Hey, Tom here. Look, wholesalers, flippers, investors, listen, you want to get good guidance. You want to build a portfolio. This is what it really looks like to be a successful real estate investor. Been doing it for 4.5 decades, have hundreds of thousands of square feet of rentals, have students that have become millionaires in as little as 2 years. Go to flipanythingusa.com. I'll show you how to do it.
You want to look at utilities. Is there a water meter? Is there a little flood area? Even in a small subdivision, you might have some kind of weird creek or spring that makes that lot unbuildable. Not likely, but check into it. Check into it. There's a ton of money to be made in those kind of gems. And like I say, just property, fantastic. Vacant lots are a wonderful way to go. And for all the reasons they have owner financing, you can get away with very little down and they'll carry the majority of it. A lot of opportunities. People sell cheap. I don't know, people they sell land cheap. They don't value it at what they sometimes should. And but you let the seller make the first offer, and then you just accept it, or make an offer that that makes you feel safe. The rule that I used to follow is pretty much doesn't really matter. I mean, you could have a 2.5 acre parcel and an 1.25 acre parcel side by side, and they're going to sell for about the same thing. It's just a buildable lot to a builder, and so you don't expect to get double for a 2.5 acre, which you pay for a 1.25 acre. It doesn't work that way. You might get 1.5 times. So if the 1.25 acre is worth 20, you might get 30 for a 2.5 acre parcel, and that's relative to almost everything. 5 and a 10, etc. 1.5 times. You can go through the trouble of subdividing later on, and that's a great way too.
All right, so a couple more things I'll add to that. Easiest money to make on vacant lots are ones that have utilities nearby. So you want to definitely have power. You want to definitely have, water, and you want to have sewer. If you can't have sewer, then you're going to go to septic system. And if you don't have water, then you're going to be drilling a well. And all that still factors in. You can still make plenty of money with those kinds of properties, but just make sure you're looking for those. So please, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please pound that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this out with your friends. I spend a lot of time putting this content out, trying to share it for my family, share it for my kids, share it for my brothers and sisters out there that want to make money in real estate. If you make it your passion, believe me, there's not a better way to make a living. There's not a funner way to make a living and a more profitable way. I don't know anywhere. I don't know how I'd ever make as much money if it wasn't for real estate. You want to learn how to make millions of dollars in real estate? I've made tens of millions over my lifetime, and I'm showing people how to do it. Get in my free webinar. I have it every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Go to the link below, flipanythingusa.com/webinar. Sign up for it. You can talk to me face to face if you want. Don't waste any time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You don't want to miss my channel. I've been doing it for years.